All right, welcome to the help desk with Joe, and I have with me today, as always, Joe McDonald, and behind the scenes, Cena McDonald, and she waved, by the way. But we're here producing our help desk with Joe, tackling those tough technology issues, and then another reader submission, I guess.
Yeah, another viewer submission.
Viewer submission, there you go, better way to put it. So we're going to tackle some more tough topics. As always, your show revolves around technology. Your job is technology. Your business is technology here in Roane County, West Virginia, Spencer, West Virginia. So let's talk a little bit about today. What's the topic for today?
Oh, myth-busting Macs.
All right, myth-busting.
Yeah.
Are you going to blow anything up to do some myth-busting? That's what I want to know.
I wish, but Cena told me no.
Oh, okay, so the producer of the show put the clamps on that.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Something like that.
Okay, so as usual, we have a lot of technology information, a lot of it saving money for folks, helping people be more efficient with their technology usage, and then a lot of protection of how to protect yourself with your computer, your cell phone, and so forth. And now we're talking about debunking some myths, and specifically about Macs.
Yep.
All right, so talk to me. Let's start off on the first part. I know everybody always says viruses. You know, you can't get viruses on Macs. You can get them. You don't need antivirus. There isn't an antivirus. Tell us the truth. What is the truth about the antivirus deal?
Well, if you talk to anybody that uses a Mac, or what they call the Mac lovers, they like to throw Windows under the bus. Any Windows-based PC, they throw them under the bus. Oh, it's unsecure. You'll get viruses, this, that, and the other. And, well, this is untrue.
Right.
It used to be that way, but now that Macs are gaining more ground and more people are starting to go to Macs, the hackers realizing, hey, this is an untapped market we can get into.
Yep.
So Macs are starting to get vulnerable to viruses.
Right, and this is you have an unbiased opinion. You work with both Macs and PCs, so you're neutral ground. You really don't care either way.
Right.
Just for the folks out there, this isn't a bash Macs or a bash PC. It's just general information, and Macs seem to have more or less knowledge, I guess, about the truths.
Right.
So we want to disclose that. So yeah, okay. So antivirus, what's on the market now? Can you go out and purchase some antivirus, and if you do, where do you get it?
Yeah, there are. Norton is one of them. They're a big player in offering Mac antivirus, and there's a lot of vendors out there now that once they realize the need for it, that most of the major vendors have a Mac version of their software now.
So any of the previous ones, you just get the Mac version. So if someone calls you up, Joe, I got an Apple Mac computer, I want to protect it, you just give them that version of Norton, and I'm assuming Norton seems to be about the most popular.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, and talk about Windows apps. Everybody always say, I called you this week, Joe, we need a deal that runs Windows apps, help us out. So Windows apps, truth, false, fiction, what's the deal?
Okay, well, it used to be there, if you bought an app for Windows, they didn't make a Mac version, but Microsoft made versions of their software, you know, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, there was Mac version.
Right.
Well, a lot of the other companies, major companies like Adobe, a lot of them are starting to catch up, that they say now, okay, we have your Windows plus your Mac version.
Right, so it's more fair game now.
So it's a lot more streamlined now. There still are some software that's just Windows, and there's still some software that's just Macs, but the playing field's almost level.
Right, so it's get a little more broad-based, more opportunities. So you're not just categorized in one playing field now.
Right.
You can do different things with both computers. Okay. Operating systems, do they work the same way? Is that truth or false? What's the deal there?
They do run differently. Macs has their way of doing things, and Microsoft has their way of doing things.
Okay.
The only difference is, the way it used to be was if you bought a Mac, you could only run Mac. If you bought a PC, you could only run Windows. Well, that's not as true as it used to be. Now, if you have a PC, you can still only run Windows.
Right.
But on the Mac side, you can actually get a program called Parallels, which gives you the Windows capability where you can run Mac or Windows on a Mac PC.
So if you really like the way Windows runs and operates and you're comfortable with it, you can convert your Mac over to that.
Well, what a lot of people run into is if they have proprietary software that only runs on Windows.
Right.
So they like their Mac, but they need to run that one Windows program. They'll load Parallels. That way they can load Windows, run the program they need to go back to their Mac.
Switch back and forth. That's awesome. I didn't know that. I'm sure there's folks out there that didn't know, and now that's a great option to have. So if the average person calls you and says, hey, you know, I'm not sure which one, give me the ups, the pros and the cons, the ups and downs, what would you tell them?
I'd ask them what their needs are. You know, what are you wanting to do with it, and what are you familiar with? Now, if you're familiar with an older version of Mac, you know, we can work with getting you a newer version, but if you're strictly just Windows, how how accepting are you to change in the way Apple runs things, or vice versa, how Windows runs things?
And it is different. What would you say are well, what's the biggest difference between the two if you were to look at it?
Well, the most basic thing right off is just the layout. You know, on Windows, you open a window, and on the top right-hand corner, you have your minimize, and you change the size of your window or close. Well, on Mac, that's on the left side.
So it's a little bit of demographics, different layouts.
Right, and different places to find stuff. Where you go under the control panel to find this list of stuff. On Mac, you may have to go to this different section to find what you're looking for.
So I assume that makes it a little hard for you to work on them because you have to know both systems.
Right.
Okay. What would cause you to tell someone pick Mac or pick PC? Is there any one thing that you'd say, oh, you definitely need to go this way or that way?
Depends on what their software needs are, plus what they're basically wanting to do as far as what they're familiar with.
Right. So a lot of their background will help base that decision.
Right.
And I know, you know, when we're talking about myths and stuff, a lot of that people feel safe and secure. Oh, Mac, I'm going to get it because it doesn't have viruses. It just makes me feel better.
Right.
Not so the case. So now you really need to look at, from what I understand, you need to look at what you are planning on doing.
Right.
More so than worrying about safety as much.
Right. Don't buy into the hype.
Yeah. So the hype doesn't count for that particular issue. Okay. So if it's back to helping people kind of differentiate between those two based on the myths. If someone wanted to run an operating system for Windows, what would cause you to help them argue one way or the other? Is there any particular need that you would say, yes, you definitely need to get to Parallel so you can run that, just so they can stick with the Mac? Would it just be based around the user-friendly part? Or?
Pretty much. If you're wanting just a PC, as far as price goes, it is much cheaper to buy a PC than it is to buy a Mac to give you the capability of both.
Right, but then you have to, you know, that's the argument we've had in the past is, but if you buy the PC, then you have to buy all the stuff to go with it.
Right.
So do you feel that it evens out, or is it more user-based depending on your needs?
It's all user-based depending on your needs. Plus, with Windows, you go to the store and you buy, let's say, an external hard drive. You pick one off the shelf, you walk out, and you know it's going to work. With Mac, you have to check and make sure that it's compatible because Apple, they are big on quality control.
Right.
For them to give their stamp of approval, it has to go through their rigorous tests that it's not going to crash your system.
So it's brand specific with that quality.
So, you know, you buy that Western Digital hard drive, well, yeah, it'll more likely work with your Mac, but you need to double check and make sure that it'll work with your Mac. Okay, so, you know, as usual, person calls you or emails you off the street and says, hey, Joe, I need help deciding. Here's what I've heard. You know, where are you going to steer them first? We'll steer them for ease of use, or most popular operating system is Windows. Right. So I steer them that way, but if they're wanting to go adventurous, I'll jump in with them and get them walk them through learning to do the Mac. Okay. Right. Have you found that people struggle to learn the Mac that much, or is it a big difference? What type of, I mean, at what point do you say, listen, it's just not worth you learning a different system? Do you come to that point, or is it all? Yeah, pretty much. Be honest with you, Dave, I've been in this for many years now, and it's come to the point where I can count on one hand how many times I've worked on a Mac. Really? Yeah. So it's mainly PC. 95, 98% of my work is on Windows. Well, let me reverse the question then. When would you tell someone, yes, you need to buy a Mac? If you're wanting to buy a Mac, if you need to buy a Mac, it would be if you're running a particular software that only runs on Mac. Okay. Or if there's something in your job or your field of study or interest that involves strictly what Mac offers, we would go with a Mac. And I know we've had some of the high school kids and college kids talk about they want the GarageBand that comes on it. Right. The photo video capabilities where it already has that software. And that seems to be the particular area or genre that people are looking at. Right, and that's one of the things that they look into is, yeah, the Mac has all this software, but does Windows offer an alternative, and is the Windows alternative as good, and vice versa? Right, and that's what we've always looked at, because our office uses PCs because of the variety and ease of getting stuff. Right. Now, I know the high school uses the Macs, and for the quality issues that they run into doing the production studio and so forth. So it can be both. Okay. Any final things that people need to know, I guess, about each? I mean, you've went through the three myths. Yes, you should have an antivirus with Macs. They can run Windows apps, and they can run a Windows operating system. So you've pretty much covered the bases there. Any last words of advice for that person that's out there watching the show and saying, you still haven't convinced me about which one I need? What would you tell them to do? look at your budget, see what you're willing to spend, and then let that help you decide, okay, can I afford the Mac, or is it best just to go with a PC?
Right. And let's compare it to car shopping just for the sake of saying that. The Mac would be like shopping for a BMW. You're looking for a high-end performance machine versus if you just need a car to get you back and forth to work every day.
Right.
PCs offer more variety, I guess.
Right.
Okay, so when they call you up, Joe, I need to decide, you're going to say, look at your budget.
Right.
Look at your needs. So they need to have that ahead of time.
Right.
So if you're interested in a Mac or PC and you want to contact A&M Digital Technologies and Joe here, he's going to tell you, get your budget in line.
Right. What your needs are.
Your needs. And
don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype. There you go. We've covered the hype. So a great topic. And again, I think that's important because a lot of people believe the hype and go out and buy them a Mac, and then they don't use it for what it's designed for, I'll say.
Yeah, and that's what's funny is the hype's still out there. Oh, Mac doesn't get viruses. And then I stand and tell them, no, that's not true. And then they have that deer in the headlight look like, really? I mean, they're shocked.
Yeah, well, and it's like everything else. People have commercials and push their product because they want to sell them. And that's the deal. So for economical reasons, do the research. And I know in previous shows we've covered if you want to buy an iPad, a tablet, or a mini laptop, netbook, what the differences are and the different characteristics and how to narrow that down. So you can always go back to that episode. We're in the 20s on our episode, so I'm not sure where that's at.
I think that was episode number 1 or 2.
It was up there close because you had nice props. So anyway, for more information, and always you can call, email, Facebook, how they get a hold of you.
You can give us a call at our offices at 304-927-3588, or check out our website at amdigitaltechnologies.com. Search yourself on Facebook for under A&M Digital Technologies, and we're also on Twitter at AM Digital Tech.
Awesome. I'm friends with you on Facebook, and I see the daily specials, and it's outstanding. I wish I had lots of money. I could buy all kinds of stuff. And
well, Dave, I wish you had all kinds of money.
It'd work out great for both.
Yeah, it went on both sides.
But that's the big key, I think. So watch the Facebook for the specials. Go back and through and watch these help desk episodes. You can save some money. You've done a lot of economical research for people to let them know how to handle finances and what to buy and stuff, and also making good quality choices, smart choices.
And what's funny is I have customers now say, hey, and they ask me this question, I've got an episode here, just watch this, and then 9 times out of 10 it either answers all their questions or they have, okay, well, here's a couple more questions.
Right, leads them on to the next step, which is great. And these are also turned into podcasts. So a big thank you. Remember when you're shopping, if you're trying to buy that Mac or PC, before you go order online and shop to who knows where, stay local. A&M Digital Technologies sponsoring patch events and activities. You guys just sponsored our Winter Basketball League. 50 K through 4 kids run around learning basketball skills.
Look like he's all having a good time.
Great times, fitness in the winter, so it's awesome. So make sure you shop local, A&M Digital Technologies, and make sure you check them out on Facebook, Twitter. And this was a viewer submission.
Yes, so that we have another prize to hand out.
Yep, so handing out prizes. If you have a question, you'd like to have it answered, get a hold of Joe or Cena here and get it, and if it goes on the show, you win something. It's great. I know you've given out Norton, you've given out some of the hard prizes and iTunes stuff, so lots of great stuff.
This was just a submission on Facebook. They said, hey, can you do an episode on this? And here we are.
Here we are. Myths debunked.
Yep.
Next time I want to blow something up or at least try to set it on fire.
Well, now we might be able to do with that.
Permission from the producer back there.
We just won't tell.
I got a shoulder shrug. Yeah, we'll just show up and do it. Okay. Yeah. Then we'll be in the penalty box for the next episode. So that's how it works.
We'll get around that.
You just take your medicine and go on. That's how it works. All right. So this has been the Help Desk with Joe, and I have Joe McDonald here with me, debunking myths about Macs and iPads and so forth. And if you have any questions or need any more information, remember, shop at A&M Digital Technologies here, located in Spencer, West Virginia, hometown business, and get a hold of Joe or Cena, and he'll be more than happy to help you out. Joe, thanks. Another great episode.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week for more information. If you ever have a topic you want to see covered, get it into us, and Joe and Cena will take care of it.
Thank you.
See you next week.